She stopped, though, by the window, her hand on the undrawn drapes. On the other side of the road, Lucy Pringle, a perfectly nice young woman who lived opposite to Edie in every way, was up a huge ladder, fixing yet more lights to her house. They had started decorating at the beginning of November, a worrying trend of which Edie wholeheartedly disapproved. This year she'd seen baubles and selection packs sold next to barbecue briquettes in August. Edie would rather the festive season turn up on Christmas Eve and bugger off on Boxing Day. She considered that magnanimity itself. If it were up to her, Christmas would be binned, and not thrown back in the recycling bins from whence it came, but rather into the black bins, the ones that wouldn't get emptied for weeks over Christmas. Lucy was gesticulating to her husband Graham, who was standing at the foot of the ladder. He nodded, ran into their garage, and seconds later, a huge Santa lit up above their front door. The shifting lights were supposed to make it look like he was waving, but from where Edie was standing, he looked like he was wanking. A masturbating Santa. That was all she needed. Lucy came down the ladder and stood back on their lawn to inspect the sight. She clapped and turned, scanning the street to see if anyone else had been watching. Spotting Edie illuminated in her front room, she waved and made a move as if about to walk across the street. Edie's face burned. Her heart made a rhythmic kicks. She grabbed a piece of bubble gum from the table and started to chew. Blowing bubbles not only kept her calm, but created a literal barrier between her and others. She had no idea why Lucy would want to talk to her. Maybe she pitied Edie, talked to her friends about being nice to the poor old woman who lived over the road. If Lucy came over now, she'd want to make small talk, and Edie would have to stop her in a way that would only come across as surly. Edie yanked the curtains shut. Best not to encourage pity visits, however bored she was, and however much she occasionally longed for company. Besides, she didn't want Santa flashing through her front windows. She kept still, waiting for the crunch of gravel towards her door. But nothing came. Lucy had got the message. She probably wouldn't come back again. Edie felt relief and sadness, mirror emotions she knew well. Peggotty, a silver Siberian and one of 3 cats who deigned to be loved by Edie, shuttled between her slippered feet. Edie bent down and picked Peggotty up, nuzzling into her fur. Peggotty had an unerring, purring ability to know when Edie was unsettled. It prompted her to move, and she headed towards the cool kitchen to put the kettle on. Cats, puzzles, and tea. Edie's triumvirate of solace. As she walked past the dining room that she'd kept locked up for over 20 years, frozen memories began to thaw. Most of the year she could ignore that room, but now she couldn't help remembering the last time she'd been inside. It had been just before Christmas. Skye had been packing up her silversmith kit, laying her handmade jewellery in velvet-lined boxes, like the coffin to which she had just consigned their love. Skye had turned to Edie, eyes full of pain. She held out a necklace, a silver crescent moon. "This was going to be your present. I thought you could still have it to remember us by." Edie grabbed the necklace and threw it against the wall. "I don't want you or your shoddy baubles." The chain slunk to the ground. She turned to Skye, wanting her to scream, to yell, to hurt. Skye's voice, though, was low and soft. "We could end this well. It's up to you. This is where we say our last words." If Edie knew anything, it was words. As a crossword setter, she could make them do anything she wanted, apart from wrap up what she was really feeling. The word baubles has a perfect anagram. Bubalis. Definition: North African antelope of the genus Alcelaphus.